Excuse me. Excuse me. I think I know you. Excuse me. I know you from somewhere. I know him from somewhere. Where do I know him from? What? Excuse me, do you know my father? I mean, my father's a painter, and so he's an artist like yourself, and so I thought maybe you knew him. I thought maybe that's where I know you from. Excuse me, I'm just trying to figure out where I know you from. Hello? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, I know where I know you from now. You're God, I can't remember your name, but I know you. I know you. Oh, I know him. I know him. Oh, of course. Of course. You're in all the history books, aren't you? And all the books of lore, every one I ever read. Only actually, no, you're not, are you? I mean, what I mean is you're not actually on the page, are you? No, you're not on the pages. It's more like you're lurking about them like a specter in the night, unseen, unacknowledged, but there. You're there. I know you're there. I've always known you were there. Tell me something. Why is it that they so dismissed you? I mean, is it because they couldn't find a name for you? Is that, oh, well, of course. No wonder I didn't know your name. They couldn't find a name for you, so what? They figure you're not worthy enough to walk among all the other muses? But you are. Your gift is an open window to our very souls. You're a mirror so revealing that, well, no wonder they so revered you in one breath and so feared you in the next. I mean, 1 minute they're hailing you on the mounts because you compel man to carve animals out of bones. They thought you were some kind of god performing your magic. And then all of a sudden, your visionaries are being slaughtered and banished. They're being called heretics because their work did not hail God specifically. Oh my God, and you were part of the Renaissance too, weren't you? Well, God, Angie, of course you were. You were the Renaissance. Oh my God. You hung with Da Vinci. Shit. And after World War I, the work you were doing then, oh my God, there was all manner of literature being written about that because it was so dark, you know, and it evoked all these deeper psyche images and revelations, and I mean nothing like that, and art was being done. No. Art is supposed to be fanciful and it's pretty and it's not supposed to comment on the social disorder of the day, but it did, didn't it? I mean it angered everybody, and it shocked everybody, and it made everybody so nervous. It exposed the well-kept fascism. I mean, nothing like that was being done. You are right there through it all, aren't you? The world evolves and it erupts. And you are simply at hand to capture it. Even today, this very day, they want to bind your hands and lock you up, shut you up with this whole censorship farce, the damned abhorrent prison house. My father is an artist. He's one of yours. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wait until I tell him he's just gonna die. That I'm here with you. And oh my God. Do you remember that LA Weekly cover? It was, I don't know, it was like a year and a half ago. You remember? The one with that guy's piece where he had a cross of the church dipped in a glass of his own urine. Did you? You did that, didn't you? Oh yes, I like you. I like him. To defy that very prison house of shame. Yes. It isn't merely that you've given us the ancient and mysterious hieroglyph or the much maligned piss Christ or any of your wonders in between. The statue of David, the starry, starry night, my own father's portrait of the prayerful king. It isn't merely that you've given us those wonders, is it? There is no merely to it. It is the notion that when we sometimes move to deny our own creative natures, you are at hand. You are right there to propel us ever forward, to champion our reflections of the world against all the odds. The odds. Let me tell you something about the odds. Okay, I knew this painter once, who was commissioned by this family to do a painting he couldn't paint. Do you remember him? You do, don't you? It wasn't that he was incapable. Actually, he was a genius. And his work is everywhere. You've seen it. I know you have. You may not think you have, but you've all seen it. His work is everywhere. Let me see, how would I describe it? It's, well, it isn't pretty. There's definitely one thing you can say about it. No, it's angry. And it's lustful. In fact, I remember this one critic saying about him, God, I remember this verbatim. She said, his strokes are not really strokes at all, but gashes in the flesh of this life. But then whoever said art was pretty, right? I mean, this particular painter, he used to always say, good art makes you squirm in your seat. Of course, so does being horny, but that's another story. You're taking my breath away. I mean, I feel like I could almost touch you, like you were matter or I can't believe I'm standing here before you. The quintessence of dust. So anyway, they commissioned him to do this painting. He couldn't paint. And See, it was a portrait And I told them I didn't do portraits. They asked me why. And I said, look, the last time I did a portrait, I was screamed at by the model who claimed I didn't capture the true her, as if she might have had some clue as to what that was, you know what I'm saying? But they begged me, and I'm not saying I don't like to be begged, who doesn't? But it's like they really wanted to pull on my heartstrings, you know? I mean, they said it was in memory of their dead mother, and when that didn't work, and believe me, it never does, then they tried to yank on my empty pocketbooks with offers of ungodly amounts of money. And that's where I fell. Because as any wise man will tell you, next to godliness, cleanliness, art, and sex, there is, of course, the ever irreverent but always popular greenback. So I accepted the job. Plus, they were able to convince me that a dead woman could hardly scream at me about a job not well done, right? So we shook hands, and the process began. An impossible one, I would come to find. But then I've always been of the opinion that creation is a job for someone with at least a high school diploma or the equivalency, and most times requires a crash helmet. I couldn't figure it out. You know, I couldn't. How do you paint someone you never knew? You know, I mean, it isn't just a face you paint. It's a spirit. It's an energy, you know, and I go through this every time, you know? I mean, why did I choose this calling anyway? That's what I have to ask myself sometimes. And was it really calling me, or am I just that masochistic, you know? So I figured, okay, get it together. Get her family to gather up everything they can find of all her belongings, everything. And I did. And they got all this stuff together, letters, photographs. There was a handkerchief bearing the scent of lilacs and mothballs. Very telling. A brooch of black pearls and emeralds, most of the emeralds missing. A pair of nylons, never worn, just packed neatly away in a rusted hope chest. Hope chest. This is her hope chest. Yeah. A dead flower that someone had taken from her funeral and pressed between the pages of Psalms and Proverbs. I often wonder about the hidden meaning in that one, you know? Very badly tarnished. Silver cup with a name inscribed. Let's see. Laura, just like the movie. And an old musty dress, floral print. I gathered it up, everything, you know, and I laid it on tables and chairs all around me, and I just sat for days, staring at the stained wallpaper, feeling a little bit like Raskolnikov after that old murder, you know what I mean? Just trying to get acquainted, you know. There was a hairbrush of hers, all entangled and ensconced in mangled gray and black hairs. Slowly, I lifted it to my nose to smell, and I breathed deep. Only hair, right? What can you get from hair? Maybe a hint of old bergamot. I don't know. You know, I'm just trying to get acquainted, you know? I don't know. I was trying to feel inspired. I was waiting for the muse or something. I don't know. What was I waiting for? I couldn't seem to get it together. So what the hell? I just started, you know? I just started. I said, fine, I can't wait for this. Can't wait for this. So I started. Nah, my first stroke was weak. It was ignorant, you know. It was bullshit, okay? I mean, the color was wrong, the light was wrong, the intent was wrong. So I sat 3 more days. I ran through every canvas and every little annoying tube of my oils trying to express the dead Laura, and then I couldn't even afford to restock my supplies. So in pure and pissed off desperation, I thought, okay, you're not going to beat me. Fine. I will slit my wrist if I have to and paint her on the wall with my own blood. No, that won't work now, will it? They can't take my wall home with them, can they? Such melodrama. So I just sat, you know, I just sat for weeks upon weeks upon weeks with the sights and the smells of dead Laura, reading her letters, memorizing her penmanship, sleeping with her quilt draped over my legs. Okay, I'm slightly compulsive, sue me. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I mean, it was incredible. All of a sudden I realized, after all this madness, I knew her better than I knew myself. I had done it. I had learned all of her every little nuance. So I began again. But this time I was on a roll. This time I painted her by day, and I painted her by night. 23, count them, 23 days of glorious madness. To the round-the-clock sounds of Tampa Red's Hokum Jug Band. And a half pint of Old Forester. I sprawled her image across a 3-foot by 5-foot canvas, and it was a masterpiece. It was just the right balance of irony. You know, it was proud and strong all at once, and yet vulnerable, you know, like her love letters and angry. Like that cracked hand mirror that I can just see her dashing against the wall and sad, like those sad eyes I saw in every one of her pictures. But most of all, it was, look. Is it not the most sensual beauty you have ever seen? Exquisitely sensual, like the woman I know she was. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind. You've probably guessed by now that I had fallen in love with Laura. And the minor fact that she was dead didn't seem to put much of a damper on that process one bit. I don't know, I guess I'm just trite. The trite artist, you know? I mean, the very cliche is true. All artists fall in love with their models, even the expired ones. And then, as if the laws of nature weren't already cruel enough for the tortured artist, the family of dead Laura were not, as it turns out, very happy with my painting after all. You know, I'm stupid, you know? I'm stupid. I'm the one that's stupid. I should know better by now. See, they wanted something they could hang on their mantle, you know, like a holy shrine to decorate with flowers. They weren't interested in something they had to ponder. They wanted something they could readily identify, like a police sketch. Doesn't even look like her. It doesn't look like her. It is the very essence of her, I said. They asked me, how would I know that? How would I know that? Human nature is my job. Human nature may be, buddy, but what do you know about our mother? What do you know about our mother? What do you know about our mother? What do you know about her? They were like mindless wind-up toys, you know? I mean, I could not stand the sound of their voices anymore, you know? We've lived with her all our lives. What have you lived with? A hairbrush? A broken mirror? Yeah? Well, I worn the pantyhose. Can you say the same? I mean, what did they want from me, you know? I busted my nuts for this. I fell in love with her. Oh. No, they didn't need to hear that one. Oh, no. I could just hear it. What kind of necro-perversion are you, mister? And once again, between artist and the rest of the conscious world, it seems, there is that loveliest of creatures, the abyss. So the family of dead Laura stormed off with all their trinkets and her whatnots, and impoverished me, I walk away with no money in my hands. But my own Laura, right here on my wall, where no one can touch her. I mean, look. Is she not everything that spells beauty? How can they not see that? So I continued on with my life, continuing the mantra I had chanted for years and will from now on. I don't do portraits. See, the truth is, surrealism can be understood by the average artist layman and the sentimentality of literalism by your average creative visionary, but it's going to take a good interpreter and a clear, concise, cross-referenced thesaurus, or at the very least, a well-trained, well-paid referee. So shake hands, wait for the bell, and come out fighting. Oh. It's the loneliest job on earth, isn't it? Tell me something. Why do we do it? All of us, writers, actors, painters, the whole sorry lot. Can you give me anything? I mean, why are you here? Okay. Then can you do this favor for me? Do you think you could save my father from this obviously hopeless pursuit of creative delirium? No? Well then, do you think you could save me?